Hello everyone, my name is Amal, and today I will be presenting on the AppArmor and also the HTTPS protocols, focusing on how they help harden our servers and also how we can configure them in our labs. All right, so first of all, I'm just going to talk about the AppArmor and why it is important, why it matters, and also how to configure it. And secondly, I'm just going to talk about the HTTPS versus HTTP. The main key differences, ports, and also the security benefits. Next, I'm just going to talk about the servers like the IIS and also the Apache. The IIS, which is mainly for the Windows, and also Apache on the Linux. And also, I'm just going to talk about like the three main strong recommendations for hardening on each of those. So let's talk about the AppArmor. So what is AppArmor? So AppArmor is a Linux security um, module. It provides what's called a mandatory access control, short form like a MAC. It restricts what applications can do by confining them with these profiles. Profiles are path-based, easier to compare as like the ACL Linux policies, and it also helps to reduce damage caused by the compromised applications. And basically, it's pretty much limits like what applications are allowed to do, and which is, as I said, unlike the ACL Linux, it is like the path-based and also easier to manage, and also think of it as like a safety net that makes sure even you're attacking compromises and application, which they cannot easily break out, or applications that parts of the systems. And yeah, so the checking AppArmor status. To make sure the AppArmor is running, we can use a command called sudo aa status to check the current state of AppArmor. It is pretty much gonna show like the number of profiles loaded, enforce versus compliant mode, and also the unconfined processes. And we can also check the service itself with the sudo system control status AppArmor. It is a command just to check if the service is running. This is important for audits and also server check assignments. This will be useful during like our server checks to verify the AppArmor is active or not. Then the hardening recommendations. So there are like different hardening recommendations that we can actually consider, but here I'm just gonna focus on like the three of them, which I think which is kind of important. So enable the enforce mode for all profiles. So pretty much like once you enable this enforce mode, so the application cannot be bypass rules. And the preventing from violating the security rules command, you can use the command like a sudo aa enforce etc like a AppArmor. Then the next one is create a customized profiles. So you can actually use the command called aa genproof to generate the profiles for critical services like Apache or MySQL, and also the regular audits and also the logs, so monitor the logs, system logs for AppArmor messages, adjust the profiles to balance the security with functionality, and the balance between security and usability is very important. So I would say like these three are the kind of hardening recommendations, I think, which is more important. And next, I'm actually going to talk about the HTTP versus HTTPS. So I'm pretty sure all of you know what is HTTP stands for. It is a hypertext transfer protocol, and HTTPS is actually hypertext transfer protocol secure. So as the wording implies, the HTTPS, which is more secure, and the HTTP used the port number 80, the plain text, where like the HTTPS uses the SSL TLS encryption on port number 443. So for HTTP, the vulnerabilities like the data sniffing, man-in-the-middle attacks, and also section hijacking, where like the HTTPS, which is mainly for security, are like the benefits are like confidentiality, integrity, and also authenticity of the communications. So in short, like the HTTPS, make sure the communication is private, untampered, and also verified. All right, so next, we're just gonna talk about the um, Windows Server, IIS. So what is IIS? So directories can be assigned at different applications pool. Pools can run as a different users. And the IIS stand for the Internet Information Services. So, sorry, I just forgot to mention that. So the IIS stand for the Internet Information Services. So which has like the stronger the limit of resources. Pools can be limited in CPU or limited in specific CPU cores. So connections and bandwidth can be limited as per the basis. And also it has a virtual directory concept that likes like symlinks with the different security profiles and can be configured on the fly. Restarting a pool or disabling a website can integrate more easily into an active directory environment. And it also has a built-in FTP count or support which similar and resources control auditing and also authentication and also authorizations. Has a stronger logical view of website which can be listened or specified IP addresses and also the ports. So manages worker process and also threads. Ports can be automatically restarted when they exceeded a certain CPU or memory usage among other things. So the main benefits are like easier to set up without any documentations. It is extends to like third-party integrations to text configurations files to do break. So it requires like a lot of work for the interface do not to break Apache configurations. And also which is kind of more secure by default because Windows more sophisticated HCL controls. So yeah, it is like more secure. Then the Apache, which is also a system server, which actually has like including Windows, Linux, and also the Mac. Support multiple processing models, processors, threads, or both, allowing it to be configured for an ideal situation. Stores configuration in text files, which are easily auditable. Has a lot of open source or free modules available to it, including modules to set up the complex URL or redirect rules or become proxy or reverse proxy. Supports several applications model including CGI, fast CGI, and also WSGI. Supports several authentication models like files, databases, IDAP directories, and also system secoms. The main key features are like easier to audit and also debug. The log seems infinitely more reliable, consistent, and also useful. More stable, although this may be attributed to more setups using more process than threads, but definitely this is more stable compared to like the IIS. All right, so next I'm just gonna talk about the hardening recommendations. So the IIS, so um, first disable the weak protocols and also the ciphers. So the big protocols like SSL v2, SSL v3, TLS 1, 1.1 ensure only TLS 1.2 or TLS 1.3 is active. So we can just disable all these big protocols to increase the security. Use strong certificates. So I'll always deploy certificates from a trusted certificate authority. It's always better to keep the key size should be at least like 1048 bit. Then thirdly, enable the HTTP strict transport security, which is called HSTS. So which forces clients to connect only the over HTTPS, blocking downgrade attempts pretty much. So kind of one of the really good hardening recommendation for that. Then the Apache Linux hardening recommendation. So for Apache on Linux, first redirect the HTTP to the HTTPS, definitely as I said, which is more secure, and use MOD rewrite or MOD SSL to force all traffic port from port 80 to port 43, which is for HTTPS. Harden the SSL and TLS configuration, and pretty much for examples like disable like the SSLv2, which is like the big protocols and stuff like that. Then restrict the direct access. So use directives to prevent the unauthorized access, disable directory browsing to protect the sensitive files. So that's pretty much it. We just covered all the different three hardening recommendations on both IIS and also the Apache. So let's go through all what we have actually gone through today. So first of all, we talked about the AppArmor. We talked about what it is, why it's important, and also um, the recommendations on like the hardening of the AppArmor. And then we talk about the HTTP versus HTTPS, which, as I said, HTTPS, which is for secure, which is kind of more for security, as encryption, also secure communications. IIS hardening, which disable weak protocols, enforcing strong certification, and also enables HSTS. Apache hardening enforces HTTPS, strong TLS configuration, also restrict the directory access. And that is pretty much it. And if you guys have any questions, definitely you can just post in the discussion box where I can just respond. And that comes to the end of the presentation, and everyone has a good day. Thank you.